Well, welcome to podcast number 18. My podcast is now legal. It's a nice gross little joke for you to start off with. So what's going on with y'all? Well, with me, I'm sure everyone by now knows Trump's tax returns show that he paid $750 in taxes the last couple of years. I think everybody and their fucking mother paid more than that. So, I think it's called tax fraud. So we'll see what happens after that. Tonight is the night of the big debate, or as I like to call it, the clash of the geezers. Because who wants to watch two senile old fucks just jibber jabber at each other? I'm pulling for Biden, of course. I think he'll do okay if he stays on what I would talk about, which is the COVID response, the tax returns, the Supreme Court opening. Not because this I forget her name, may or may not affect the abortion rights, but because she's more than likely to get rid of Obamacare, which, hey, if there's a better alternative, I'm all for, but we don't have one. You can't take away health care in the middle of a pandemic that's going to last until next year at the minimum. So I assume she's going to get pat through the Senate because the Senate's a Republican majority and they're speeding this through because values and morals are not for the Republicans. They're barely for the Democrats, but they're absolutely not for the Republicans. Fucking traitors. So she'll probably win, and she's in her 40s, so she should be there for about 40 years. God, maybe longer. And, God, it's just, enough is enough. And if Biden wins, they're talking about, well, we're going to enlarge the Supreme Court because of the bullshit that the Republicans have done. And it's just a never-ending bullshit war of, well, he said, she said, and dick measuring and all that stuff. It's ridiculous. We need to just clean house, in my opinion. We need to have, I've said it once, I've said it again, but we need to have at least a 4 to 5 party system in this country. Because what we got is shit. It's like eating a dog shit sandwich or a cat shit salad. Either way, you're eating shit. So, fuck them all. Also, the NFL, week 3, the fucking Seahawks did it to me again. Came out with a big-ass lead. It looked like we were going to just power through, and then we made some stupid play calls, some stupid penalties. Next thing you know, Dallas is leading with like 4 minutes to go. It was a crazy game. But luckily, we ended up winning. DK Metcalf made up for the showboating. Now, I don't mind showboating. I like entertainment, but bro, you gotta know what's happening. How did you not feel that guy behind you to knock the ball out? I mean, come on. I expect that kind of shit from high school football, but not in the pros, baby. But like I said, he made up for it and caught the game-winning touchdown, and then somehow, some way, the defense held again. And I was just reading reports that through the first 3 games, the Seahawks defense is historically bad. Like, no other team in NFL history has allowed the passing yards and the total yards and the big plays that the 2020 Seahawks have. Thankfully, our offense is also like just slaughtering the other teams. I mean, I can't remember an offense like this since I've been watching football. I mean, it's almost like we're watching the New Orleans Saints or the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens or something. It's crazy. I'm not used to this. Russell Wilson has 14 touchdowns through 3 games. That's never happened before in NFL history. So it's a little Jekyll and Hyde team right now. Now, again, some of you are going to say, well, the injuries, Angelo, the injuries. Yeah, I got it. The injuries. They're bad. However, one side of the ball that we would be struggling with even without the injuries was that defensive line. We have no pass rush. And even if we had a healthy Bruce Irvin, I really don't think that would make much of a difference. We need to figure it out. Maybe we need to start blitzing a secondary member. Well, Jamal Adams would have been perfect, but he's doubtful to play this week because he hurt his groin. That's one of the major injuries. And linebacker blitzes. I mean, Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright were blitzing the entire game, and they couldn't hit home. I think we only sacked Dak Prescott once, and it was on the final drive, and we almost got him again. So at least we saved our sacks for when it counted. You know what I'm saying? So, NFL Week 3. Holy shit. And it turns out that the Tennessee Titans have, I think last I checked, 3 positive COVID tests. So they may not play this week, or they may move it to another week because they're playing the game against, I believe, Pittsburgh. I don't know, but the Minnesota Vikings, who played the Titans, now they're getting tested. So it's just a clusterfuck. It reminds me a little bit of baseball this year when the Florida Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals had all these positive tests in the beginning of the season, and they had to cancel all these games. And the rumor was Major League Baseball, from the commissioner, was thinking realistically about canceling the season, because if you have two teams going through this, how are you going to keep it in-house? How is it not going to spread? And so you go back to the football, with the Tennessee Titans having these 3 players that we know of that are testing positive. Well, shit, maybe they gave them to some Minnesota Viking players. Maybe they gave them to some officials, some other coaches. Who knows? But if you ask me, do you want the NFL to be canceled because of this? Fuck to the no. I love me some football. I'm a hypocrite because I've been bitching week after week after week about the coronavirus and how people don't take things seriously, and here it is, a incident which may have to be taken seriously, and I'm just like, well, I enjoy it, so let them go. So I don't listen to me, people. Do as I say, not as I do, obviously. Oh, a quick side note. If you're a Trader Joe's shopper, bless you, but next time you're at Trader Joe's, go to the refrigeration section, like near the creamer and the sour cream and the yogurt and the eggs and all that shit. Try to find their organic coconut smoothie. It's in this little bottle. It's only an 8-ounce bottle. This stuff is amazing. I only bought one because every now and then I go to Trader Joe's just to see what kind of new shit they got, and I buy, mystery items. I don't know how they're going to taste. More often than not, I'm disappointed. But every now and then I get something that's really good. This is one of those times. I am going to go back there probably tomorrow or maybe on the weekend and buy a truckload of them. These things are dank. I cannot recommend these enough. I downed it in about 45 seconds. I sipped it, and I kind of had an explosion in my brain and my pants, and I just kept drinking. So, and by the way, make sure it's the blended young coconut meat with coconut water one. I think there was another one there. This is the single origin blended young coconut meat with coconut water. By the way, I don't like the phrase blended young coconut meat. It just kind of sounds like I'm eating the meat of something, like something I'm not supposed to. By the way, I have finished this drink, but I kept the bottle to talk about it. And I'm looking at the bottle. My mouth is watering. I don't know if you can hear this on the podcast, but my mouth is literally watering. Like, my body's like, yo, give me more of that. Like, my body wants me to rip open this and kind of lick the sides of the inside of the bottle. But I don't like the term blended young coconut meat. It sounds kind of perverted, like I'm eating the young meat of something that I'm not supposed to be, Why couldn't it just say blended young coconut with coconut water? That would have been okay, but you got to throw in that meat. And young makes me feel like a fruit pedo, you know what I'm saying? Coconut's a fruit, right? Definitely not a vegetable. Oh, fuck, we're getting off the rails here already. Well, I feel like I should also update you all about some things that we talked about last week. Most importantly, the update on the turf war between these two birds. Haven't heard much in the last couple days, and the weather's been nice. And if I had to pick a winner based on evidence I've found on my deck and in my yard, I would say the Blue Jays won, because I have found a lot of crow feathers, and not one feather was blue. So I know it's not a Blue Jay feather. Now, do I think the Blue Jay finally had enough and kicked the shit out of a couple crows and ripped some feathers out, blah, 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 blah? Yes. Do I have any scientific backing of my claim? Absolutely not. Did I see anything? No. Hear anything? No. Did I just walk out on my deck and see a bunch of crow feathers and assumed what happened? Absolutely. So that's what I'm going with, people. I'm going to assume the Blue Jays kicked the shit out of the crows. So hopefully this gangland turf war is about over, because I'm not sure I can take much more of it, because it was getting loud. There was a lot of bird shit on my deck, so I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was going on. I'm hesitant to refill that bird feeder because I don't want to start that shit up again. But, I like birds and I like feeding them. It just makes me feel good. So, you know what? Fuck it. I will keep feeding these birds, because what else are you going to do during these COVID times, The little things become big things. So, tonight I am smoking one of my favorite marijuana companies called Fire Bros. Fire, like hot fire, it burns. Bros, meaning, what's up, bro? And this is their sativa joint called Groundhog Day. based on, dare I say, one of the best Bill Murray movies ever made. Duh. A little strong, obviously. But this got me thinking about a weird purchase I made a week and a half ago. And what it was is a hemp cigar from a company called Acme 420 Hegars. And that is Hegar instead of cigar, he with an H. Hegars, obviously for cigars, hemp. You see what they did there? Yeah. Now, I whipped this bad boy out on Saturday because I went to see some buddies and we were watching the UFC fight. And I can't think of the fighters offhand, but it was a pretty good night. It was very nice. And it was a beautiful evening. We played some ultimate frisbee, which is so much fun because there was a big backyard. And got me thinking how much I love all that shit. Playing any sports with my bros. And, you know, we were talking maybe about joining when we can, because with COVID you don't know what's open and you don't want to risk it. About maybe joining a league, a professional league for frisbee. And then we're talking about dodgeball, volleyball, bocce ball, tennis, you name it, everything. But it was a fun time, you know. Oh yeah, back to the Hegar. I got sidetracked there. So this Hegar is wrapped in a kind of a green leaf. It reminded me of the juicy looking leaf that was on that movie Land Before Time. Remember Bigfoot or Littlefoot? He really wanted that star leaf. Was it the star leaf? Star something. And the way that the animation made that leaf look so delicious that I remember as a child my mouth was watering. But anyway, Land Before Time, a great movie. Great movie. The sequels, that was a money grab. But as a kid, I enjoyed them. Then I tried watching when I got a little older, and I said, nah. First one's a classic. Second one has its moments. The other ones, no thank you. They should have been taken care of in the womb, you know what I'm saying? But these Hegars, again, are high in CBD, and I don't know if they can actually advertise THC on here. I'm not sure. But let me tell you what. I took a few puffs of this, and within milliseconds, my entire mouth went numb and sparkly. Like, it kind of felt like... You guys remember when you were a kid, and there was those pop rocks that they would kind of go pop, 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 pop in your mouth, kind of like fireworks? And if you were a real badass, you would dump them in, like, Pepsi or Coke, and then drink that, and then, like, your insides would explode, and everybody thought you were cool for a day? Yeah. That's kind of how it felt. And, you know, one of these days, maybe I'll go through my distilleries that I like. Not my distilleries, well, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'll go through all the weed I like to buy. But anyway, let's move on here. I've rambled enough about bullshit. And by the way, did you guys see the video of those idiots in Seattle doing donuts in the middle of a major intersection that was like blocking traffic for blocks and blocks and blocks? And they were doing donuts, and then they were hitting pedestrians because pedestrians were like gathering around them taking pictures and selfies and everything. And I'm just like, that perfectly sums up why a lot of people in this country think Seattle is fucking crazy. Seattle and Portland. No, I don't know what's going on in Portland, so I really can't speak about it, but I know there's been fucking protests going on for months now, it seems. And for the last couple nights, it's been getting real bad. I can't even watch it anymore because it just makes me depressed and angry. But seeing those fucking idiots blocking an entire intersection in Seattle, doing donuts, and then the fact that they were running people over and one of their cars got fucked up, got me thinking, you know what? Maybe some of these Trumpers are right. Maybe some of these idiots in Seattle are just Looney Tunes, you know? I, of course, am just messing around there, but what I do find a tad bit frightening is William Barr, I think it was William Barr, saying that Seattle is an anarchist city. Anarchist city? Anarchist city. I can't even say it right, it's so absurd. That's like saying all of Louisville is an incest city. So I don't know what you're talking about here. You know, it's crazy, just making up these... That's the problem in this country, and it sucks that it's happening at our highest federal level, is that everybody likes to paint people with broad strokes. Not just people, but like entire cities, entire states, entire races, and people's sexual orientation. They just like to say, oh, well, they're all like that. And then they just move on comfortably in their life like they didn't just say something profoundly fucktarded. And by the way, I think I created a new word, fucktarded, because I like to say the word retard. However, I understand it's no longer socially acceptable to say that word, and I can understand all the reasons why. I still like the word. I use it very sparingly now, and usually around people that they know I'm joking or I'm just fucking around. I'm not making any obscene statement. But if I want to say it in public, like let's say I see someone complaining about having to wear a mask, usually my knee-jerk reaction was to call them retarded. But now I think, no. I can't do that in public. I am just as bad as them. Let me come up with a new word that has a little bit of that word, but kind of takes it to the next level. So I thought of fucktard. Fucktarded. It's genius. So next time you see someone doing something stupid, bitching about wearing a mask, saying Blue Lives Matter, just call them, oh man, look at that fucktard over there. So, yeah, that's my gift to you. Oh boy. Oh god. Okay, let's bring it back down. Let's bring it back down to a more personal level. Let me tell you a little bit about what I've been experiencing. Now, I don't recall if I've talked about this on a previous podcast. I probably have, so apologies. But I highly doubt if people remember when I say podcast to podcast. I highly doubt I even have repeat listeners. So, for the last, I would say, damn near 10 years, if I'm at someone's house, my house, family member's house, whatever, if I'm at someone's home and it's comfortable, I like to pee sitting down. It's a game changer. Game changer. And you may ask yourself, well, why, Angelo? You're a man. Well, first off, I don't see sex when it comes to pee. You got to pee, whatever gets the job done, do it, Initially, the reason I sat down to pee was because I would say around 27, 26, I would think I'd be done peeing. I would shake everything off. I would put myself back in my pants, and then I would look down a couple seconds later, and I had a little drip. A little driplets, Little cute droplets. And it was embarrassing, but I went with it. But it kept happening. And I thought, man, do I have a leaky penis? What's going on here? What's changed? So then I had to bite the bullet and just say, okay, let me see what happens if I sit down to pee. I'm not going to get splashback, and the process of me getting up and like bending down and pulling my pants up should knock off any spare urine. And it got to the point where, you know what, I can catch up on some memes, I can catch up on the news, I can look at some text messages, let me open up Reddit or Imager, and sometimes those pees become poos. And so it's really been a very positive game changer in my life that I recommend highly to everybody. Sit down to pee. You can catch up on your reading. You can maybe make a quick phone call, some text messages, do whatever you got to do. However, that obviously did not solve the drip problem. However, I rarely drip on myself sitting down. But what I have had to do the last couple of years, and again, I'm not proud of this, it's a little bit demasculating, is I take one tiny piece of toilet paper, one square, and I fold it a couple times, and now I'm dabbing my pecker. Pecker. Is there a worse name for a penis than pecker? It sounds like something sharp that can break wood, you know what I'm saying? So I'm dabbing my penis now with this a piece of toilet paper, and you're thinking, Angela, that's not too bad. You're just using one piece of toilet paper. Yes, but all the time. And I know I'm saving on toilet paper overall because I have a bidet. And by the way, I don't know how bidets are in every household and every business bathroom, every bar bathroom, any place that has a bathroom. I don't know how bidets aren't standard. They're amazing, and they're so good for the environment. So, but you still have to use a tiny bit of toilet paper when you use the bidet. Just you gotta clean up the water. Just a dab will do ya. But now I'm doing a dab will do ya on my butt after the bidet, and now on my front side after I pee. So I had to really think. Overall, I'd have to say I'm saving toilet paper, so that's good. It's better for the environment. Go green, baby. However, I think I'm using more toilet paper than I need. But I can't be walking around with a dripness showing on my pants. Drippy. Wow, this one's off the rails already. So, yes. My point is, sit down to pee. It's pretty good. Don't think it's demasculating to sit down to pee. Just do it and see what you think. Because let's face facts, boys. When you pee standing up, majority of the time you're going to get most of your pee stream into the toilet. But come on, man to man, you never do it 100% of the time. There's times when I inspect the toilet afterwards and I'm like, how the hell did I get that all over the place? I mean, I understand the rim, but how does it get on the lid? You know what I'm saying? How does it get behind the toilet? On the floor, again, if you have a leaky problem, I understand the floor. So it's just so much maintenance. So it's a hygiene factor as well, and it keeps the bathroom clean. Do you know how disgusting it is if you go to someone's house and you walk into the bathroom and you step in front of the toilet and your feet get wet or your socks get wet and you're like, oh, sweet Jesus. What kind of trash uses this bathroom? So just sit down. Sit down for a week and see how your bathroom looks. If you're married or have a girlfriend, I guarantee you they're going to be happy with you. You're going to be happy because you're not going to have to clean up anything. And yeah, you may have to dab your penis. Whatever. That I get is a little embarrassing, but get over it. Life's got bigger issues, you know what I'm saying? This is first world problems, you know what I'm saying? Move on. There's one more thing I got to call out in relation to bathroom and bathroom paraphernalia. I cut my finger cooking this morning. Not too bad, but it was a bleeder. And I was running low on my already open box of Band-Aids. So I used the rest of them, and I was opening up a new box. And I didn't know this, but it was a pretty large box, the new box of Band-Aids. Christ, how many times am I going to say box? And I opened it up, and within the big box, there was 5 little boxes of Band-Aids. And the first one on top was a black box that had Mickey Mouse on it. And I'm thinking, fuck Disney, but well, it's okay, I can wear a Band-Aid by Disney, whatever. And I looked, and in the top right corner of the box, it says Collector Series. Huh? Who the fuck is collecting Band-Aids? If that's your hobby, surely there's some other things out there, you know? I just find it hilarious. Collector Series Band-Aids. Like, there's some, this probably does happen, and I don't mean to judge, but it's fun. Probably in the Midwest, there's probably a few people that have a shelf, and I hope it's just a shelf and not like a curio cabinet or, dare I say, a room dedicated to Band-Aid Collector Series. What the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Band-Aid should cover your blood, cover your cut, and maybe have a little bit of a design on that. But who the fuck is collecting Band-Aids? If you think that's a hobby, I got a bunch of Beanie Babies that are just sitting here. You can gladly take them off my hands. But let's move on to movie reviews. I finally sat down and watched. I've wanted to watch it for about a week now. And that is the Netflix movie, The Devil All the Time. Now, it stars a bunch of people. A bunch of A-listers, I should say. But the main stars, I would say, is Tom Holland and Bill Skarsgård. And they also have Sebastian Stan, Jason Clarke, Robert Pattinson, and, oh god, who was the other big name? I can't remember. Oh god, what is her name? Is it Mia Wasikowski, that's right. Mia Wasikowski, whatever, you know who I'm talking about. Probably don't, but she's a hell of an actress. Now, where to begin? So the movie's about all of these characters. Let me just read you the synopsis here. Sinister characters converge around a young man devoted to protecting those he loves in a post-war backwoods town teeming with corruption and brutality. I mean, that synopsis really doesn't do the movie justice. It's not just about one man. It's about really multiple people in this area, in this part of the country, during post-World War II and right when Vietnam is starting. So roughly between the mid-40s up to the mid-60s. And it's a little bit long of a movie. It's almost 2.5 hours. I think it's just under 2.5 hours. But I'll be honest with you, it doesn't feel like it. Now, the acting is A+. There's nothing for me to complain about whatsoever. The plots, the themes, the editing, the cinematography, the set design, the costume, you name it, fucking amazing. My one nitpick, and now it is a nitpick because I brought this up to other people that saw the movie and they all said, I didn't notice that, you're out of your mind, is the music. The majority of the time the music works fine. But I noticed, predominantly for the first half, the movie just didn't sync up with what was happening. Like, there were some pretty horrific scenes. And I'm like, holy shit, that was awful. But then the music is just like a little harmonica. Or like an organ. And it doesn't really match. It doesn't work. Whereas other parts of the movie, the music knocks it out of the park. But again, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill. A mountain out of a molehill here. The movie is excellent. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it probably an 8.5, 8.3 maybe. Some of the dialogue, but overall, amazing movie. Now, he wasn't in the movie a lot, but Robert Pattinson stole every scene he was in. He was so good. He got me even more excited for the Batman movie coming out. Because I gotta tell you, Robert Pattinson shook off all that Twilight shit and has really become a damn good actor. He's a little bit like the guy that played Harry Potter. What's his name? Oh, God. But you know who I'm talking about, that guy. And Daniel Radcliffe. There you go. And, again, it's hard to shake what made you famous, especially when you're a kid actor. But Daniel Radcliffe, Elijah Wood, I would throw in there, and Robert Pattinson have all done it, in my opinion. Now, Robert Pattinson plays just one of the seediest, dirtiest, disgusting, like, vile reverends I've ever seen in a movie. I could watch his delusional scene over and over and over again. Delusions! I mean, I don't know if he was in the movie long enough to get even an Oscar nomination, let alone a Golden Globe nomination, but he deserves it. If they look at what he did with what he had, it was stunning how good he was to me. So, yeah, Sebastian Stan was pretty good. He played a deputy that's trying to become a chief, I believe. He was good. His little plot was good. Oh, Riley Cow, that's right. That's the other actress I couldn't think of, along with Mia Wasikowska. Sorry, I'm drumming back and forth here. Tom Holland was damn good. He wasn't the best, but he wasn't bad. But he didn't really do anything that made me go, ooh, damn, he's good. Bill Skarsgård, you know, the guy that plays Pennywise in those It movies, he was excellent. I would say he was second to Robert Pattinson. And, you know, Jason Clarke is good in everything. He's fast becoming one of my favorite newer character actors. Like I'm talking about a car. And what really was cool about this movie is that they did something that I don't know if it's ever been done before. Is that a lot of the movie there was narrator, you know, a voiceover. And I'm usually pretty good at picking up who's doing the voiceovers in movies. However, I couldn't place this one. And I waited till the movie was over, and I looked up, well, who the hell did the narration? And it was by Donald Ray Pollock. Pollock. And I'm thinking, who the fuck is this guy? I've never heard of him. And then I realized he is the author of the book that this movie is based on. And my head just went kapow, because that was so cool. I have seen so many movies that were based on books that I can think I would love to have the author's voiceover in the movie. So if I ever finish the book I've been working on for almost 15 years now, if I ever finish that shit and somehow, some way, it becomes a bestseller and I get to put my name on a movie that they're making about it, I would insist that I get to do the voiceover to it because of this movie. The Devil All the Time. Check it out. It's probably the best Netflix movie I've seen in the last year, maybe. Because the thing about Netflix is they release so much that most of it is kind of average. Some of it's straight up brutal. Now, I enjoy their TV shows more than their movies. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head any Netflix movies right away, so maybe that'll tell you all you need to know. I can only think of the recent ones that I watched that I didn't really enjoy all that much, like Da 5 Bloods, the Charlize Theron one where she can't die. I'm drawing a blank on that one. I tried watching that Ben Affleck one that had Charlie Hunnam and Chris Isaac. Or is it Chris Isaac or Oscar Isaac? I always get those two jabronis mixed up. Anyway, that movie, that one kind of sucked. And I just can't remember the last excellent Netflix movie. Probably The Irishman. And that was last year. And even The Irishman, was it a perfect movie? Hell no. I would say The Irishman and The Devil All the Time were as good. Completely different movies. You can't really compare the two. But I'm saying, overall, I would say they're about equally good. Mid-8s. Maybe, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like if a mid-8's too high. Let me give them low 8s, like 8.1 or an 8.2. I know I'm splitting hairs here, but, that's my favorite thing to do. And since I'm reviewing things, I finally finished my book, The Orchardist by Amanda Copland. Beautiful book, beautiful ending, amazing. It's been one of the better books I've read in a long time. Probably the last book I read that I enjoyed this much was The Sympathizer. And, God, I gotta find out who did that one. But anyway, before I jump to The Sympathizer, let me, talk about The Orchardist. It was published in 2012, and it won a shitload of awards, but I didn't know any of that. It was just recommended to me, and thank God it was. Like I said, beautiful, beautiful, and so sad and tragic in some chapters, but overall, it's a very poignant look at one man and how he affects, really through no... how do I want to say this? He didn't try to be a hero. He didn't try to do good. He just did what was natural to him. And that is the main character, Talmadge. Now, I don't want to give too much of it away because I hoped some of you would end up reading it. I just can't recommend it enough. And plus the fact that it takes place in the Great Northwest, and you get to read a pretty accurate representation of what Chelan, Wenatchee, Walla Walla, what these areas look like back pre World War I, I believe. I believe it's pre World War I. I don't really remember. I believe it's turn of the century, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, it's at the turn of the 20th century. I was right. And I compared it to The Sympathizer, and then that book was written by Viet Thanh Nguyen. Obviously, it's a Vietnamese author, Viet, V-I-E-T, Thanh, T-H-A-N-H, Nguyen, N-G-U-Y-E-N. And The Sympathizer it's about in April 1975, Saigon is in chaos. At his villa, a general of the South Vietnamese army is drinking whiskey and, with the help of his trusted captain, drawing up a list of those who will be given passage aboard the last flight out of the country. The general and his compatriots start a new life in Los Angeles, unaware that one among their number, the captain, is secretly observing and reporting on the group to higher-ups in the Viet Cong. And I really don't want to give anything more up. This book, I don't know how it hasn't been made into like a mini-series on like HBO or Prime or some shit. I don't know. It deserves it. Maybe it is. I hope it is. So 2015, FYI. However, these two books I would recommend. So I started a new book, and that new book is called Happy All the Time by Laurie Colwin, and that's C-O-L-Y. Oops, read that one wrong. Oh, this joint is pretty good. The book is Happy All the Time by Laurie Colwin, C-O-L-W-I-N. And I believe it's from the 1970s? Yeah, 1978. And it's a completely different book than the last couple I've read. It's very more happy-go-lucky about couples, romance, comedy. I won't say it's uplifting, because so far it hasn't been, but I'm only less than 100 pages in. But so far, it's pretty a light read, pretty breezy. The characters, you feel like you know them pretty quickly. And let me tell you a little bit about it here. Guido and Vincent are childhood best friends. That's right, Guido. They are third cousins, living in Cambridge and dreaming about their futures. Guido plans to write poetry, while Vincent feels confident he will win a Nobel Prize for physics. When Guido spots Holly while exiting a museum, he can immediately sense that she will be difficult, quirky, and hard to live with. He loves her on sight. Vincent, open-minded and cheerful, meets Misty at work. Though she is a bored and misanthropic brunette, my favorite, he finds himself desperate to know her. Through courtship, jealousy, estrangement, and other perils, Happy All the Time follows four sane, intelligent, and good-intentioned people who manage to find love in spite of themselves. So, again, it sounds like a romantic comedy. So far, it kind of is, but I've just been reading a lot of like heavy, dark, depressing shit. I was like, let me try finding a book that actually is going to make me feel happy and like loved and like doesn't make me want to cry and like smoke weed in the bath and think of what the hell's going on in this fucking crazy world that we call home. So far, happy all the time has been pretty pleasurable. But yeah, so let's keep moving on here. You know, I wanted to close this podcast by talking about the first presidential debate. And I can honestly sit here and tell you that that's gotta be one of the worst moments in American history. I'm serious. Just think about it. That is a 2020, in the year 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of, I would almost call it a civil rights-like protest movement. Police brutality is on the rise. White supremacy is on the rise. Anarchy is on the rise. I mean, it's one of the most awful times in our history. And this is all happening in an election year. And you have this, the first presidential debate to who's going to lead us out of it, the current president or a new one. And this is what we get. These are the kind of moments that happen right before the collapse of empires. I don't mean to get dramatic, but it happens to all great civilizations. It happened to the Greeks, the Romans, the British, now us. Anyway, I can't believe people actually sat down and watched the whole 2-hour debate, and there wasn't just a mass suicide because it was brutal. And in my opinion, nobody won the debate. The biggest loser is the American people. And, you know, Biden, I don't know why he just didn't let Trump talk and just kind of look at the camera and be like, can you believe this? This is not presidential. Instead of getting baited and starting to stutter, and it's almost like Joe Biden was trained to debate an actual politician like he has in his 40 years of political life. That's not Donald Trump. Everybody knew how Donald Trump was going to do the debate, and yet everybody seems shocked that Donald Trump acted the way he did, which was tyrannical, babyish, and downright racist when he refused to condemn white supremacy, instead calling Proud Boys to stand down but stand by or stand ready or some shit. And it's just really, God, do we really need this? So I, for one, am all for canceling all future debates. We don't need it. We don't. I don't think we're coming out good here, people, as Americans and as a country. How can anyone in the right mind watch that and feel proud to be an American? Really, these are the best two, and we all know that's not the case. Now, I know people will argue to me till their dying breath, but I truly believe that if the DNC got over themselves and selected Bernie Sanders and maybe a Tulsi Gabbard or a Nina Turner or somebody as their VP, that way you can still keep it a woman because we have to play identity politics all the time. I truly believe that we'd be in such a better place. You would have a clear cut, calm, cool, and collected, and there's not nearly the baggage with Bernie that you would get with Biden. So, but like I said, I don't want to talk about the debate. It was awful. Instead, I want to talk about, in my opinion, what we all should do, specifically for the next couple of weeks, really the next 2 months. However, I would say this going forward, how we really need to stop looking at people as an enemy or seeing people as your team versus my team. We're not on teams. There are no sides. You're not right, and if someone disagrees with you, then you can automatically call them a racist or a sexist or a buffoon or a fucktard. We want to shame this person. I'm going to yell at this person. I'm going to try to twist them around their belief system. I'm going to change their minds by embarrassing or denigrating them, and it's not going to work. You're not going to change anybody's mind by getting in online arguments. But I just truly think if everyone, not everyone, let's kind of boil this down a little bit. Let me try to bring this idea down to its roots, if you will. Think of an issue that seems to be the ultimate division, or one of the ultimate divisions in this country, and make it be abortion, immigration, healthcare, and then you start getting to just buzzwords like socialism, fascism. I mean, sometimes these are just words that people throw around. They don't even mean anything. Christianity, Muslim. These are people and religions, and again, people throw them around like they're buzzwords. It's getting abused, and it's getting hurtful and hateful. I don't think we're much different from one another. I truly don't think me, as a, lip-tard, soy-drinking cuck from the West Coast, would have that much different for what I want in life from, say, some hillbilly incest, mutter trucker America motherfucker from Alabama. If you get all these supposed different people in one room and had them just talk about what they want, what does it mean to be an American? What do they want to leave behind to their children? All that shit. I truly don't think there's be much difference. Yeah, you're going to get some outliers. You're going to get, with some racism or some sexism, but I don't think that would be as high as people think. I talk to a lot of people that I disagree with on a lot of things in terms of political or religious or whatever, what have you. But we can always talk about a number of things outside that we get along just fine. We find out this person's not that bad. Hey, this person believes abortion is murder, but that doesn't define them. I'm sure they look at me and think all these awful things, but they said that doesn't define him. So, I guess my point is trying to be, don't judge a book by its cover. Some you can. If the book says, fuck all black people, or all Trump voters are pedophile racists, then you can kind of tell, okay, I don't want to read that book. I don't want to read it. It's only going to make me angry, depressed, and it's only going to further divide this already dividing country. But, I'm not sure I'm making any sense. I watched some of the debate, and I almost killed a bottle of wine. And it's pretty good. It's Pinot Noir. That's my favorite wine, by the way, if y'all are wondering. My favorite red wine is Pinot Noir, and I would have to say it's probably my favorite wine. But none of that shit from California or Washington. I like Pinot Noirs from Oregon, the Willamette Valley. That's the dopest dope that ever toked. I'm finishing it off right now, so anyway, I'll end this because I don't think I've made any sense for the last 15 minutes. Just be kind to one another. Just listen. I know it's hard not to judge, and I know it's not fun, because it's fun to judge people and make fun of them. It's fun to see someone that's on the side of the road holding a sign that said MAGA 2020, and you want to yell at them. I get it. But just don't do it. Just move on. Just say, oh, that's their opinion. I have a different opinion. Oh, well, and then just move on. Who the fuck cares? And when you do yell at them or get in their face or just be flat out asshole to them, your instant reaction is to treat them like shit. Then you're only going to reinforce all the worst things that you believe that person is all about. You're just reinforcing everything that they think about you. Anyhow, I love y'all. Take it easy. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Yeah, I think that's about it. Take it sleazy.